On a different but related note, there is the topic of virtualization. This is a topic that you may see more of for computers in general, but in the case of video games, it is a matter of compatibility. You see, when it comes to emulation, it is not only running the game in real time, but also the software that has to process the conversions in real time as well. With virtualization, there are far less conversions with the code to make it readable on other hardware, which of course is in real time as well. With virtualization, there is much less conversions going on to make the code readable, as the newer hardware that the game is interfacing with is already using a significant portion of the same hardware that made up the older hardware. So when this feature is available, it allows the older games to interface with the newer hardware. The newer hardware, in essence, being a more powerful version of the older hardware, which means that the older software that is interfacing with the newer hardware should at the very least be running just as good as it would be on its original hardware it was made in mind for. However, that's the very least virtualization should be doing. Because as you might have figured by this point, virtualization can offer enhancements to older software. However, it can only do so if said software was made in mind with these enhancements in the first place. An early example in gaming would be the Super Game Boy adapter, which allowed original Game Boy games to interface with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The adapter in question contains the original Game Boy hardware itself, which handles the interfacing of the game with the new system. But in addition to that, the adapter also allows for the ability to add basic colors to the monochrome Game Boy games, a few borders to fill in the empty space if enabled, and other additions depending on the game. However, the device wasn't known for being 100% with its virtualization, as the Super Game Boy was known for running Game Boy games 2.4% faster with both its gameplay and audio. Specifically, the values of the Super Game Boy would be 4.295454, with the original speed running at 4.194304, both in the megahertz values. The offset in values may not be by much, admittedly, but those wanting the most accurate representation of especially their favorite games will desire better representation of said games. Better accuracy, in other words. Though funny enough, there would be an updated version of the Super Game Boy, creatively titled the Super Game Boy 2, which was released exclusively in Japan in 1998. This model fixed the 2.4% speed miscalculation, as well as adding an extra multiplayer option via link cables, and uses different default borders, among having access to a few exclusive borders. Features aside, the point here is that virtualization can be similar to emulation in that if not properly set up, something can go wrong with representing hardware, even if it is something seemingly minor, such as a slight increase in speed. However, what is fortunate about virtualization is that it doesn't need as much involvement as emulation does, as it is a more simple matter of making sure that any new hardware added isn't interfering with the old hardware in unexpected ways. And that should cover all of the basic points of what video game emulation and virtualization are. Let me know if you have any questions from this learning path, do your challenges, and have a nice day!